What's up, everybody? Get Kitty in here real quick. Happy Saturday, y'all. Hope everyone. All right, Kitty, you should have the. Oh, there we go. There you go.
Hmm.
All right. So yeah, guys, man. Kitty and I were talking and shit. We're like, man, we gotta do a video on this shit real quick. Um, but yeah, I'm not even sure how the fuck we got started talking on. Do you remember, Kitty?
So we were talking about, it started from your question last night after the podcast, and it was about, kind of like in Assassin's Creed, some of these artifacts were used to control people.
Right. That's right. Yeah.
Hmm. And you're like, I'm wondering if they're like in history, like if there's a sign or something of maybe we don't know that there was an artifact, but something out there somewhere that people were controlled, like a mass controlling of
Yeah.
people.
And then you
Hmm.
mentioned what?
I mentioned
Uh, Kitty. Kitty, I lost you there. Are you on Wi-Fi? What's going on here? All
I
right.
don't know what happened.
Are you on Wi-Fi?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
But but yeah. Sorry, we lost you
So
there.
I
But
mentioned
yeah,
type.
what had you mentioned after that?
After that, I mentioned also the dancing plagues of the Dark Ages.
Yep. And then you also mentioned the Pied Piper as well.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's what I said right before our first live ended. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and when you started mentioning about the dancing plagues, I was sitting there thinking, and I was actually listening to Creeker 3, and I was like, wait a second. In Massacre, what does he say? Blood on any dance floor is a massacre to me.
Hmm. And in the dancing plagues, these people danced for hours, for weeks, until they collapsed from exhaustion, to where their feet were so swollen that they became bloody, and there was blood on the ground where they were dancing. So that's like a quadruple entendre that Upchurch has got there.
Totally, totally is.
If he's aware of that or not. But yeah.
And he's talking about how he's at the gates of heaven,
Hmm.
but there's a party down below and he's crashing it.
Right.
So, in other words, there's a party down here on Earth
Hmm.
where people are dancing on this dance floor.
Hmm.
There's magic, the magic of tonight, and
Hmm.
I want some. The magic, the ritual that is going on down below.
Hmm.
Yep.
So I believe that there was an instrument, kind of like with the Pied Piper. There was an instrument, but we never will know what that instrument was that was used to control these people. This happened several times. It happened I want to believe it was the 700s. It was first affected by children, and it was mainly affected by peasants. The first couple of times it happened one time in the 700s, and they were children. It happened again, I want to say, in the 1200s, again in the 1300s, and again in the 1500s. It happened a couple of times, and it happened 2 years in a row, um, at the place in France. So I do believe it was an instrument because some research that I've done, it's saying that the ones that are connected, the couple of times it did happen in the at least the 13 or 1500s, the same people that it was affected by this dancing plague, they would go to other towns and that town would get affected.
Yeah.
So I believe they were taking this instrument or this artifact that can control people, Now, where I'm going with this, the reason why I believe they were controlled is because it wasn't just that they were dancing. You know, a lot of people sum it up to it was some kind of poisoning from their food system. They're saying it was mass hysteria from them being stressed out because they were peasants. But the interesting thing about the couple of times in the 1500s where this was affected was that these people were middle class. They were not peasants, but it never reached the elite. It never reached the royals.
Yeah.
Never. It was just middle class and below every time. So the reason why I say that they were controlled is because, yeah, they were moving uncontrollably, but they were also crying out that they were in rivers of blood. That was one thing. Another thing that they were saying that they were having demons were attacking them. And the one that's more so interesting is the couple of times in the 1500s where this happened. The people were thrashing about and dancing so much that they were getting to the point and they went to, like, they were trying to bash their head in, like against a building or a wall or something. Like they were throwing themselves in the river and drowning themselves.
Yeah.
I mean, that's control to me.
And what was the part too? They had bandages around their wrists and they had bandages around their waist. And
Right.
one something that they were doing to basically break them of this spell or whatever the fuck it was to tighten the bandage around their waist, and it would
Right.
how they worded
It
it
would
was
alleviate them. It would
alleviate.
alleviate them.
Yeah,
It would alleviate them and keep them like calm there for a while. But whenever they'd get up, they'd go and do it again. So the first part, whenever it started happening at this place in France in the 1500s, they believed that they just needed to dance it out. That was the first initial reaction. So they brought in bagpipes
yeah,
and they brought in music. And it actually did exacerbate them dancing. It did all of that. And then whenever they figured out that that wasn't working and people were dying from exhaustion and heart attacks and stroke from dancing for weeks on end, nonstop every time they would get up, they ended up saying, "Oh, okay, yeah, you're saying demons are attacking you in your rivers of blood. Okay, yeah, so let's do something about that." So they would put red shoes on
uh,
their feet and have them dance in the St. Victus Chapel. And the St. Victus is the patron for dancing. And they would have them dance, and there were crosses painted on the toes and the soles of the red shoes that they were supposed to dance in.
huh.
And when that still did not alleviate it, they ended up taking them to like a mountain or a hill nearby, and they pretty much got rid of it by absolution.
And yeah, fucking Jack Black in the red shoes, Tom McDonald in the red shoes.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Everybody knows what the Red Shoe Club is.
yeah,
Hmm.
and
But the hill.
go
So
ahead.
everybody knows the hill where they were taking these priests were taking these people that were affected and afflicted by this. They were taking them up to this hill, and all of a sudden they were healed after this absolution. Well, what was in that healing? Everybody knows that Catholicism is enriched in not just, you don't just pray for people, there are actual rituals, including in exorcisms. So it was part of that ritual.
Yeah. So, I mean, one thing, you said something too earlier about like the feet being in the mud as well.
I don't remember that, but I might have, yeah.
Yeah, so
Hmm.
that made me think of like, grounding, but
Hmm.
I'm not sure if they were wearing the shoes when they did that or,
Right.
but I mean, typically if you're grounding, I mean, barefoot,
Hmm.
connecting physically to the ground.
Right.
Now, if you're wearing shoes, I mean, it's kind of like wearing insulated boots. You're insulating, you're from the ground. I mean, think of it like, electricity. So if that, regardless of that, there is something about the mud and the dirt on that hill. Now,
Right.
when you
Hey,
think,
Patriot.
what's up, Patriot? How you doing? Now, when you think about the mud on the hill during this ritual,
Mm-hmm.
if you look at the lyrics of Massacre, at least on Apple, everything, all the lyrics are lowercase except mud is capitalized, all caps.
Mm-hmm.
So me and all my rowdy friends can go play in the mud.
Mm-hmm. Yep, absolutely. But they were healed on that hill by the priests from
Yep.
absolution, including in their ritual. And their ritual may have like had something to do with mud. We don't know. It's not really stated.
Yeah.
But another interesting thing about the 1500s dancing plague was that you did have volunteers that every year they would go and they would dance all day and all night over there at the St. Victus Chapel. Um, and some had been dancing there for at least 20 years. Some people had been dancing there for 30 plus years. And they were actually not people affected by this plague. But they would, whenever they were at first encouraging people to dance more to get it out of their system, these dancers would go and encourage these other people that were afflicted by this uncontrollable dancing, and show them how to dance and keep dancing, and all of these certain things, which again reminds me of another ritual. If you go back in history all the way back to even the Stone Age, what is a big part of rituals? Dancing.
Yep.
You even look at even more recent things like the Native Americans. They have their rain dance. They have dances for to be, you know, um,
Harvest.
victorious in battle. Everything else. They're rituals.
Yeah.
So, but these people were not voluntarily doing this, and they died from it. And the amount of people that died from the last dancing plague in the 1500s was like around 500 people.
Yeah. And the about it too is you had mentioned something, and even that video you were watching where they were talking about it, about how they would like dancers, they would like collapse and it would be like out of exhaustion, but then
Hmm.
or that if they would collapse in ecstasy.
Yes.
And then so you're talking about, tightening this bandage, this cloth bandage around their waist and it alleviates them. Like why the is that
Hmm.
about like depending on where it's at on their waist, was that maybe constricting a chakra or
Hmm.
was that something constricting an organ maybe? Like what about that caused them caused this hallucination or whatever this was to stop, to cease?
Right. No, absolutely. Absolutely.
But this is this is definitely some deep shit. And one thing, there's a lot of songs that reference the Pied Piper. Cher's got one where she's saying "Follow me." I'm the Pied Piper.
Hmm.
um, I can't remember. There's so many of them, but
Beach Boys.
yeah,
That's the one you showed me.
yeah, I'm gonna get to that one in a second. So I mean, like with the Pied Piper, with the dancing, I mean, it's I mean, what was it? They had the bands play, and they had like the professional like dance instructors come in and all that.
Hmm.
Like
Hmm.
they frequencies, and we all know those the music frequencies, whichever can be healing or they can be harmful.
Right.
So the Beach Boys, yes, they have a song called "Pied Piper," and I can't pull lyrics up while I'm live here, but it was something about this prince meeting the Pied Piper and him giving him this transistor radio.
Hmm.
And then later in the song, it's talking about how um, because of the magic music that came from this transistor radio, and how the radio stopped glowing.
Mm-hmm.
And Kitty, she didn't know this. Back in the day, radios were pretty big. They took up a good little chunk, just like your TVs did, of your room. The reason why is because the circuits and the inner workings were bigger. They used vacuum tubes. We talked on our binary episode about how the transistors, started this technological revolution. So these vacuum tubes, if anybody who plays guitar has a old tube amp or whatever, the tubes glow when they get power running to them and they warm up. That's why you let your tube amp warm up before you start playing it. You let those tubes warm up and they begin to glow just like a light bulb, but it's like a very dim light bulb. But you take the cover off that amp or the radio back in the day, and some even had a glass window in them where you could see the glow of the tubes. So when the radio stopped glowing, they stopped using the vacuum tubes, and that was when they started using transistor radios. Andy Griffith, there's an episode where Opie gets his transistor radio and he's walking around with it up to his ear all the time. Like he's just got it right there. He's talking to his dad. He's like walking around. Like I remember hearing stories growing up about my dad, like and like how, kids in school, like they were, talk of the town if they had their transistor radios, man. They wanted a portable radio. To have they want more people to be able to receive these signals more often and mobily. I mean, look, you have them in your homes, of course, but then you have them in your vehicles, then you have them in your pockets. Like they wanted to be able to reach us with this music. And that is a really deep, kind of dark song, but he talks about how he throws the radio in the attic and then his two little brothers go and get it, and then the song stops. So it makes you wonder what that's like, what happened after that.
Right. Absolutely.
Oh,
Did they come under the influence of those frequencies? Did they come under the influence that's been used for centuries? If you look at it from a biblical perspective, um, Lucifer was the angel of light. Light. He was very beautiful, but he was also like music. That was his thing.
yep,
If you look at the polytheistic version of this, it's Pan.
Pan and Peter Pan.
Right.
Yep, that Peter Pan looking bitch. Inside joke. Anyway, but another song too that, man, I've heard growing up, and I can't believe I've never put two and two together until today. But Megadeth, Symphony of Destruction, and guys, anybody who's a fan of like Metallica, old school and shit like that, I've got I've got a theory that there was some dark shit that happened with Metallica, with Cliff Burton's death, with Newsted's, with the way he fucking just was like, I want nothing to fucking do with you anymore. Um, and even of Megadeth, man.
Mm-hmm.
I think that he knew what this evil shit that they were doing, what the industry was doing, and they were getting involved with inside the industry. Look at how Metallica fucking changed, man. They are not what they fucking used to be, man.
Right.
But Symphony of Destruction, the chorus, just like the Pied Piper, what was it? Chasing Red through the streets. Dance like the marionettes, which the marionettes are the string puppets.
The old wooden string puppets.
And what happens when you make a string puppet, a marionette dance? We're gonna get to that in a second. Dance like marionettes to the symphony of destruction, to the sound of destruction, the music
Mm-hmm.
of destruction. Now, when a string puppet dances, it kind of looks like it's flailing, right? You want to explain that one?
So in the dancing plagues and all of them, their arms would thrash about and their eyes would become expressionless. That's another reason why I believe they were controlled by an item or an artifact. I don't believe that this was some mental illness that was some sort of virus that they were catching.
Yep.
Hmm.
Yep. And the thrashing about makes me think of chicken dancing, if anybody knows what the fuck that is. But it's all the like fucking teenagers and shit were doing, 10, 15 years ago to post-hardcore, which if anybody knows what post-hardcore is, basically it's the bastardization of fucking metal, man. It was a bunch of people getting up there and playing just, fucking gent shit and fucking like screaming and just making no sense. And it was just such like a negative fucking emotion in music. And, like a lot of metal there's a lot of negativity in it. And, but this was like, it was almost like some sort of entrancing shit, man. Like, it wasn't a healthy music. I never liked it. I went and saw one show, man. This like one kid was like fucking thrashing his arms around, like fucking windmilling and shit. And I
Yeah.
remember he, like fucking like backed into me. I just like fucking pushed his ass. I'm like, get the fuck out of here, man. Like, dude,
Yeah.
mosh pits, man. Mosh pits are the shit.
Hmm.
Get out of hand, man. And like, there's kind of like a code with it. Mosh pit, you watch out for your fucking brother, man. Somebody falls, like you stop, man. You fucking stop and you pick the motherfucker up. You make sure they're okay. They will get fucking trampled, man. You can fucking die in the mosh pit,
Right.
especially if you're fucking like, you're all fucking been drinking shit like that, man. Your wits aren't about you. Like, dude, you gotta watch out for your brother in the mosh pit. There are some shows where they get so out of control, man. Like, I mean, there were some Slipknot shows where these motherfuckers took it to such a level to where they would like be beating the shit out of each other, man. Like right there, and the crowds would either
Right.
be oblivious or they'd be fucking cheering them on, and shit. Like, guys, this is not fucking metal, man. We're not
Right.
taking aggression out on ourselves. We're supposed to be taking aggression out on the fucking system, man. The system that's
Hmm.
oppressing us, not each other. You know,
Right.
but I think that's another example of that, dancing until your feet bleed. It's just kind of in a different way. You're dancing and you're beating the shit out of people, man. You're covering yourself in blood.
Hmm.
Dance floor in that way as well. There's blood in the pit.
Hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely. And what is out there quite a bit about maybe certain elite and you know, royals. They're into blood,
Yeah.
right? Yeah,
I mean, it's no different than a sacrifice on a battlefield with blood.
exactly.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yep. Battles were sacrifices.
Hmm. Absolutely. And there are different types of blood rituals and everything else. And some of it is sacrifice, like towards a death god. Some of it is, you know, innocent blood, like uh, Gary Wayne, in one of the episodes he does on the deep end, he talks about the different types of blood rituals with these the royales and the elite and these people in these cults and stuff like that. And some of it was innocent blood, like for example virgins, and he was trying to dance around it because it was still on YouTube, so he was trying not to go into that to where his host didn't get hit.
Yeah.
But we know exactly what he was trying to reference as well with that.
Yeah.
So, hmm.
Yep. Man, really, really makes you think, man. Like
Hmm.
just how powerful music is, man.
Absolutely.
I mean, we all know it's powerful, but we learn, seems like more and more every day, like just how powerful and just how long it's been known about and used, for the wrong reasons.
Right. But we have at least one person that we know of, and I believe a lot of these guys that look up to him are doing the same thing. They're doing it for the right reason.
Yep. And even in Megadeth, a peaceful man stands tall against the Pied Piper.
Hmm. So my first reaction whenever he read that lyric out loud, and I've heard the song before too, but I never quite caught on to the lyrics like Stoner Man. I was like, oh, they're talking about Jesus. And he's like, yeah, but what if they're actually talking about just like a regular man? Not God. What if they're talking about a regular man? I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, because
Babe, you wanna go ahead and say it?
yeah, church, man.
Yeah.
Because I mean, music can be used for such evil things and control and you know, there's a binary to everything. It can be used for that evil, but it can also be used for such good and such healing and such you know, it can be such a light serving tool.
Mhm.
So if you can use that, then you can stand against those who use it for evil.
Absolutely.
Those healing frequencies, man.
Absolutely. And you can um also do it with your faith and your principles and who God says you are.
Yeah.
And that's your armor of God right there. And the gifts that he gives you, whether it be music, writing, whatever it may be.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
Never let your guard down.
Like what was that? What was that? That one was which one?
Dixie-lander.
Yes, Dixie-lander. That goes deep, you guys.
Yeah.
They're triple, quadruple,
Yeah, we'll do a
like
video.
tundras on that one as well.
We'll totally do a video on that one.
Hmm.
Yeah. But yeah, just wanted to drop some of this shit real quick, guys. We were talking about it like fuck, we gotta put this in a video real quick.
Have you seen Sinner? It's a movie that just came out. It's based on Robert Johnson. Oh, I need to see that. But I am going to make another video. We kind of did go into the 27 Club, and I typed that into the. If you haven't heard about it, Patriot, look up the Black Cube Cult.
Oh yeah.
That I believe ties in with some of that, but I really want to check that one out because that is very interesting. The stuff with Robert Johnson. He wasn't actually the first one either. Interesting enough, and I did not know that.
Oh yeah. But yeah,
Hmm.
there's a lot of shit to Robert Johnson, and definitely the crossroads, man. I really think that existed in more than one way, form, and fashion.
Right.
But
Well,
I,
I'm getting rained on over here. I'm gonna go ahead and.
no, you're good. You're good. Yeah, yeah. Thank y'all so much for joining in, man. Good to see you, Patriot. Hope you have a good weekend, bro.
Bye, Patriot.